Okay. Damn.
What is up, everybody? Thank you all so much for joining me in this video, part 2 of the Ed Coan Deadlift program. We're on the path to PRs for this deadlift, and man, I can honestly say this program has been working great. Now, if you haven't checked out part 1, I would highly recommend doing so you have at least the slightest bit of context for what I'm going to be discussing in this video. So I'm going to try to link that right up there. Go check it out before we get further into this video so you actually have a base. And while we're talking about all these housekeeping items, if you wouldn't mind hitting this video with a like, I'd really like to get this video to 10 likes. I hope we can. I hope we can get it to 10 likes. So please hit this video with a like. If you want to share this video with your lifting friends, it helps me out a lot and I'd really appreciate that. And of course, I always love talking about lifting and everything surrounding it. So feel free to drop your thoughts or opinions on what I'm going to be talking about today down in the comments, and I will for sure get back to you in that. So you get a quick glance of what went down in week 3 of the Ed Coan Deadlift program. This week we're working with 85% of my estimated 1 rep max, which was 420 for the bar that I'm working on right now. That means we're working with 85% for a heavy set of 2, and then backing down a little bit, hitting 6 sets of 3 with 70%. with 90 to 120 seconds rest in between each set. The weights that I'm using for that double and then for the triples are 355 and 295 respectively. So we're taking some pretty big jumps in the loads, and that's something that initially I was a little nervous about, 20-pound jump, but I think the way this moved, I have no further worries going forward. So let's roll it. One thing you might have noticed is I threw on the belt. Now that we're at 85%, really anything above 80%, I like to belt up, whether it be squats or deadlifts. So throwing on the belt was definitely a big help for me because I felt like I built such a solid layer of strength leading up to this, working beltless for months and months, that now when I throw the belt on, I feel kind of dangerous. It might be a whole other topic for another video about when you should belt up and when you should train beltless, but for me, it felt really good this week. And then of course my supplemental work was with 295 for some triples.
Shout out Young Swish.
In this first clip, you can see a couple different angles, and I didn't train with the belt on at 70% because that's pretty light, right? And I think the technique work that this program includes is what's really been key for me. You know, you can work up to that heavy weight, but then actually having to practice with lighter weight will just further instill some of the good habits that I've been working on. Another view for you of 295 from the front. And one thing that I think I do well in this video, as you can see from the front view, that money shot, is my knees are directly in line with my shins and ankles. And the nature of my positioning in the lower body allows for better force transfer, let's say, than if my knees were caved inward or too far out over my feet. So I'm very happy with the way the sumo deadlifts are looking. It's kind of becoming more of a natural thing and something that I don't have to think about as much now. I'm feeling pretty good about my positioning overall. I felt like I might be able to wedge my hips into the bar a little bit better to pull the slack out, but it's an ongoing process, right? Something I'm still working on, and I will fully admit that it's not perfect right now.
Shout out Young Swish.
I think this shot from the rear view actually shows where I need to make my biggest improvements. You can just slightly see that my hips shoot up the slightest amount. But because they shoot up at 70%, that means when I get into that more maximal weight, they're definitely gonna be shooting up. When your hips shoot up, everything kind of falls apart. You could be risking putting too much pressure on your lower back, and you're just losing strength because you're not in an optimal position anymore. So one thing that I really need to focus on, and that I'm gonna work on for part 3 of this series, is driving with my quads. And then after I'm about at knee level, working on setting my hips through. So I think that if I keep working this over the next 7 weeks, by the time that I'm going to hit that PR, I'll definitely be able to have that practice in mind. And it'll just be like muscle memory at that point, where my form will be so on point that I'll be able to hit a new PR. Another improvement that I think I can make, as you can see in this last shot, which I purposely wanted to see what my torso angle was doing. So what I need to work on is opening up my hips a little bit, and then once again, just wedging myself into the bar. And this is gonna allow me to have less of a range of motion to work through, because the bar will simply have to travel less distance. Guys, this was a bit of a quick hitter compared to my first part of this series, but I hope that by me dissecting my training, you can think of some things that you could improve in your deadlift. If you have any questions, feel free to drop them in the comments. Once again, guys, I really appreciate all the support I've gotten with these videos so far. I hope you all have a good one, and I will catch you in that next one.